We're starting off with the agencies of secondary socialization. Before we get started with this, to begin with, we need to know what secondary socialization is. Now, if you remember, we had started off with the nature versus nurture debate, and we're studying all of this under the topic 1.1. And initially, we started off with the nature versus nurture debate. Then we went on to discuss certain arguments that supported the nature side. And then we went on to discuss the nurture side of the argument, where we discussed cross-cultural variation, where we discussed feral children. And then we hopped on to the primary sources of socialization. And we discussed initially family, which is unarguably the most primary source of socialization. And then, arguable enough, we moved on to the peer group. Now, once we're done with primary socialization and the primary socialization agencies also being agencies that maintain social control within a society, let's move on and discuss the secondary agencies of socialization. Now, to begin with, when we use the word secondary socialization, we are talking about learning norms, learning values from various other institutions, various other groups besides and beyond our family. So, the agencies beyond our family, like for instance, our education system, the education system plays a very important role in terms of a socialization process too. Day in and out, we keep on learning things besides and beyond academics from the education system as well. Likewise, if we speak about the media is seen to be a very seem to be playing a very important role in terms of our socialization process, especially as I speak today, as this uh, as 2025 is coming to an end. The first quarter of the 21st century is coming to an end, and with this technological advancement, the amount of exposure even young children have towards the media, being more specific, social media, this it wouldn't be wrong to refer to the media as a very important socialization agency as well. Now, alongside education and media, we have religion as a part of a syllabus, as a secondary socialization agency that we would be discussing. So the takeaway from what I just said was, besides your family and your peer group, there are several other agencies that, in parallel to your family, because the socialization process, like I said, initially starts off at home, but it at home through your family, but your family does not stop socializing you. It goes on along with the family. There are other secondary agencies. Being more specific, we'd speak about three of them today. Number one, education. Hopefully, we'd have the time to. Number two, media. Number three, religion. The role these three agencies play in terms of our socialization process. Now, taking this ahead, let's start off with education as a secondary agency for socialization. As we speak about the role that the education system plays, one, to begin with, you all have been sent to school, or you were sent to school for your for formal education. And this formal education, you get this formal education through formal curriculum. Your curriculum is the subject content that you taught today at school, and tomorrow you'd be tested on, but which again results or translates into academic qualifications, academic credentials that you gain. But alongside your academic credentials and academic qualifications, there's a lot more that is taught to you by the education system as well, which we refer to as the hidden curriculum. Now, as we use the word hidden curriculum over here, what does the word hidden curriculum mean? As the name suggests, hidden curriculum. So we're talking about individuals. Wait, there's someone I need to help them join. Okay, so we're talking about individuals being taught things beside and beyond the academic curriculum at school, and hence the word hidden curriculum. Now, this hidden curriculum is also referred to as the informal curriculum, because you are not taught to this like your academics are, and nor is there any particular or specific testing mechanism that is used for you to ensure that you've already learned it. Or yes, there are certain checks and balances that the education system does keep in mind to ensure that students are following these rules and regulations that they're supposed to be following, but there's no specific testing mechanisms like the monthly tests you have or the formal examinations that you have at the end of each term. So as we speak about the education system here, education involves two kinds of curriculum. To begin with, the formal curriculum that specifies the subjects, knowledge, and skills that children are explicitly taught in school. Not only taught, like I said, they are tested on later too. Number two, the hidden curriculum, the things we learn from the experience of attending school. Now, when you're attending school, there's so much more than just academics that you learn. For instance, at school, you get acquainted with people from different social backgrounds. You get acquainted with people from different ethnic origins. You get acquainted with people from a different gender. So when we speak about the experience of attending school, whatever you do learn from school besides academics, it wouldn't be wrong to refer to that as a part of our hidden curriculum. One. Number two, another example, to listen to adult authority. At schools, you're expected to listen to what your teachers say, what your administrative staff has to say, what your principal has to say. And all of this is something that you're expected to do later in life as well. For instance, if you're working somewhere, you are expected to listen to your seniors. You're expected to listen to your boss, and then your boss listens to his or her boss, and then that particular boss listens to his or her boss too. So, listening to adult authority and having respect for the system, for the institution, all of these are a few examples of hidden curriculum. And remember, there are many, many more. It's just a few examples that we've used to help you understand this better. At school, children also learn to balance their own needs with those of others. Now, just because you feel hungry at a particular classroom, that doesn't mean you just stand up, leave the room, go and start having your lunch. You have to wait for the right time, for the time that has already been decided by the institution, where you would be allowed to go eat, give yourself some rest. So at schools, children also learn to balance their own needs with those of others. It's often the first place where they spend significant time away from their parents. Now, see, the school as a secondary socialization agency. Let's go back to the time when you joined kindergarten, to the time when you joined school, into when you were stepped into school, when you were in kindergarten. That was the first time, or that was the first instance probably in your life when you started spending time with people who were not your family, nor were they your family friends. You learn adjusting with those people. You learn how to cooperate with people within a society. You learn how to cooperate with people within the education system, which eventually is mirroring the society as a whole. Schools offer you opportunities to demonstrate, to showcase your talents. For instance, if you're good at chess, the board game chess, at home you could just play with your siblings, your parents, your grandparents, and that's it. Maybe your neighbors. School provides you with a platform. There are more of opportunities that you have, that you receive at school, which might not have been possible for you to have at home. Be it sports, be it public speaking, be it any other co-curricular activity. So all of this, eventually, it wouldn't be wrong for us to say, is a part of your socialization process. Schools offer opportunities to show their talents to people outside the family, but it also presents challenges such as interacting with non-family members. So it's the education system that plays a very important role in terms of helping you develop skills that further uh, guide you with specific behaviors that have a very instrumental role to play in your life, or that are very meaning based. For instance, if at school your teacher assigns you to a specific group, there are people in that group that you don't know, you did not know earlier. And let's just make it up, you aren't very fond of them either. But then you learn how to interact with them, you learn how to communicate with them, you learn how to be with people, be around people, and get your task done. And the people I'm talking about over here, they're not your family members. You learn dealing with authority figures as well, like your teachers. So schools, if we say, is I need to allow someone else as well. So schools, as we say, are an agency, a secondary socialization agency that help us live our life or be a part of a society the way the society expects us to be. Now, a couple of minutes earlier, I had used the word schools, I'd used the line schools mirror the society as a whole. So the interaction, the communication, the skills that you develop at school would eventually be used by you as you step into the professional world, as you step into, yeah, the professional world. Now, taking this ahead, the first point, separation from family. It emancipates the child from primary attachment to the family. Like at school, you are there's this functional sociologist that we've studied about earlier as well, Talcott Parsons. Parsons uses the word, what's the word again? Parsons uses the word yeah, according to Parsons, school helps or plays the role of a bridge between your family and the society as a whole. School plays the role of a bridge between your family and the society as a whole. And it's the school that operates on universalistic values, the word that I couldn't recall earlier, universalistic values. If, let's just say, for the sake of an example, you're the eldest child at home, or you're the youngest child at home. If you're the youngest child, you're probably loved more than others. I'm just making it up. At school, it doesn't really matter if you're the youngest child, the eldest one, or the only child. You'd be treated like anyone else, just like a society typically does to you. So it emancipates the child from primary attachment to the family. Schools help children move away from the close relationship they have with their family and start to interact with a wider range of people. People from different social class origins, ethnic backgrounds, different gender, different socioeconomic status, different region, different religion, so on and so forth. This prepares them for the more impersonal relationships. Like I said, you get well acquainted with people from different backgrounds at school. So the impersonal or not so personal relationship at home, you have personal relationship with people, your family, your friends, you have a personal relationship with them. But when you talk about a school, your school provides you, or the education system by and large provides you with an opportunity. It provides you with an opportunity to learn how to interact and communicate and get your things done the way they're supposed to be done as you grow older and enter into adult life. Acting as a bridge, see it's written over here, acting as a bridge between the family and the broader society. One. Number two, learning broader values. At home, you learn values that might be very specific to your family, that might be very specific to your caste, creed, religious affiliation, political predisposition. But as you step outside home and you walk into the education system, the broader values that you ought to know, that are essential for you to have and you to hold on to for your survival and for you to play a beneficial role within the society that taught to you by the school. The values of the society, societal norms, societal values. Now, if I may give you an example here, the way 14th of August is celebrated, you know about 14th of August more because you've attended school. Because at school, when you were younger, this particular day was always celebrated. There were people, probably students only, coming and giving a speech. Every year, year by year, you kept on learning more. You kept on learning the significance of this particular day. So that's an example. That's just one example of how the societal values are instilled in you, are indoctrinated in you through the education system. It allows children to internalize a level a level of society's values, internalize, or in other words, you learn them to the point that they become a part of you. They learn them to the point that they become a part of your personality. It allows children to internalize the level of society's values and norms. And that is a step higher than those learned within families. Schools introduce children to societal values and norms that go beyond what they learn at home by interacting with people outside the family, children start to adopt these wider social values. You start to adopt broader social values, which help them integrate into adult society, integrate, or which helps them, or which helps you adjust into the adult society better, and support social unity and shared values. For a society to run the way it should be running, for a society to operate in a manner that it benefits everyone in the society as a whole, it's pretty essential that there's unity, there's cooperation, there's order, there's predictability, there's integration within the society. And for individuals within the society to be united, for individuals within the society to be united, those core values or those core societal values need to be taught to you. And the education system is that institution that plays this role of instilling societal values in you. Now, taking this ahead, if I move on, like any institution, schools involve a range of different roles, such as the role of a teacher, the role of a student, which are themselves linked to a range of related roles referred to as a role set. This further extends the idea of cultural relationship between, because we become fixed into a range of expected behavior. Now, we're talking about the expectation that is that the society has from us. For instance, if I may give you a quick little example that we have written down over here. For instance, if you're a student, let's just say this is you. This is you. Here you go. Oh, that looks a little weird. So yeah, this is you. Now you, as a student, you learn how to play. I mean, you're playing the role of a student. That's a given here. But you learn with the pass of time how your interaction would be with other students from your class, from your seniors, how your interaction would be with your seniors, with your juniors, with your subject specific teacher, with how your interaction would be with a teacher who is not your subject teacher, but still is a teacher, the domestic staff at school, the administrative staff like student affairs department, the HR, no, you got nothing to do with HR, the counselors there. It's the education system that is teaching you all of this, and you're not only learning, but you've been given an opportunity to understand that despite of the fact that you're playing the role of a student, you are expected to behave in a different manner or to interact in a different manner with all of these different social groups. The way you're interacting with the administrative staff would be different from the way you're interacting with your parent, would be different from the way you're interacting with students within your classroom. So schools teach various values. These include the importance of working hard, according to Talcott Parsons again. The education system teaches you value of achievement. It's the education system. See, from a very young age, when you join school, as you join school, initially you had this, you've seen these kids having this, they're almost obsessed with getting a star, with getting what do you call it? A shining star when they're in the play group or the kindergarten or the earlier classes, the initial classes, right? And it's I don't mind using the word rat race. From a very young age, I mean, not all, from a very young age, you're taught to achieve, you're taught to compete, you're taught to put in effort. You're told time and again that achievement matters. And this achievement is this achievement is the parameters that are used to uh, test your achievement are through examinations. Now you're sitting over here listening to what I'm saying because deep down inside, there's a possibility you have an idea deep down inside that whatever I'm talking about right now could possibly be questioned in the CIs. So these include the importance of working hard for qualifications, competing academically, collaborating with others, and respecting authority without questioning. Some values are taught directly, such as through assemblies on helping others or anti-bullying campaigns, while others are learned through the organization and routines of the school system. And this is again referring back to the hidden curriculum. What has someone written? When did we study about the research you're talking about? Which research did I talk about? I just mentioned Talcott Parsons. I just mentioned the name Talcott Parsons, and I don't think I spoke about any research so far. So, again, the education system, uh, the crux of this entire thing is the education system is a very important secondary agency of socialization. Now, there are some sociological perspectives which you would study when we start off with topic 1.2, which, being a little specific here, would refer would include functionalism, Marxism, and feminism. Because we haven't really studied that up till now, I would like to keep this reference that we have over here by Bowles and Ginters pretty general. It's okay. You learn it the way I'm trying to explain it to you. And then slowly and gradually, with the passage of time, slowly and gradually, as we step into topic 1.2, you would have a better understanding of this entire thing. So for now, there was this study. Now I'm talking about research here. There was this there was this work put forward by American economist Bowles and Ginters in 2002. Bowles and Ginters came up with the idea of a correspondence theory. The word I'm using over here is correspondence. Now, when I use the word correspondence in this specific context, I'm referring to the similarity in terms of the experiences students have at home. No, I'm sorry. The similarity in terms of the experiences students have at school compared to the experiences they have at the workplace. I'll say that again. The word I'm using over here is correspondence theory. What does this word correspondence theory over here mean? We're talking about a correspondence. We're talking about a similarity between the experiences that you have at school through the hidden curriculum with the experiences that you'd have tomorrow at your workplace. Bowles and Ginters, oh, in fact, it says the word correspondence, argue that there's a correspondence between school norms and workplace norms. Schools prepare students for adult work by socializing them into values and norms that will make them uncomplaining workers. So, just a tiny little spoiler here. These gentlemen, Bowles and Ginters, they are referred by many as neo-Marxists, or let's just write the word Marxist over here. Most of you do not know who Marxists are. Do not worry, you do not need to know this at this point. When, as we step into topic 1.2, I'd explain you Marxism. But till then, Bowles and Ginters, they believe that it's through the education system, it's through the hidden curriculum, that's a part of the education system. Students are taught certain values that eventually help the capitalist system, or that eventually help them becoming uncomplaining workers. How does that happen? If I may give you a couple of examples here. Schools teach you to be submissive. Schools teach you to be achievement oriented. Schools teach you to be passive. Schools teach you to be docile. Schools teach you to be workaholics. Schools teach you to be uncritical. There are certain rules and regulations, such as punctuality, where maintaining control over where you should be at what particular time. For instance, if I may give an example here, schools decide, I mean, if you talk about a college, if you have a class at a particular time, you're supposed to be inside that particular classroom. If you're not inside that particular classroom, there are certain repercussions that you'd have to face. You'd be marked as bunking the class and your parents would be reported, which I'm sure wouldn't have very favorable outcome. But isn't it the rule? Isn't it I'm sorry. So yeah, doesn't that teach us uh doesn't let me get back into that zone. Yeah, schools teach us certain values. Schools teach us certain values that help us turn into uncomplaining workers. From your attendance being marked, to the level of punctuality, to the extent to which you do your assignments on time, to what you wear, to where you're supposed to be at a particular time, to the extent to which you're showing obedience towards authority figures. All of this that is taught to you today at school is eventually going to help the organization that you'd end up working for. Because if today you're taught to be obedient and achievement oriented and docile and workaholic and uncritical, tomorrow when you step into your workplace, all of these features, all of these traits that you've internalized at school, they'd help the organization that you work for, that would help the system that you're a part of become stronger. These ideas, they're backed up by positive sanctions and negative sanctions both. Positive sanctions such as you being rewarded maybe in terms of you gaining grades, qualifications, getting prizes, getting certificates, being anything that you've done nice and smart, being acknowledged, you getting that respect, maybe at school assembly, you getting that recognition. So these ideas, they are backed up with positive sanctions. And positive sanctions, when I use the word positive sanctions over here, I'm referring to you being rewarded. And at the same time, and these rewards, they're done to praise you, to encourage you, to further motivate you to behave in that particular manner. And along with positive sanctions, there are negative sanctions too. There are negative sanctions such as schools uh, uh, sending you for detention, schools punishing you, schools suspending students, them expelling students, schools, uh, yeah. So these are some and not all examples through which schools use these negative sanctions to punish you, to ensure that they're discouraging a particular specific type of behavior. Now, failure to achieve qualifications or gaining a reputation for being unintelligent also functions as a negative sanction. These sanctions prepare children for sanctions at work, from bonuses for good work to the threat of being sacked or fired as a negative sanction. So again, this correspondence theory was put forward by Bowles and Gintis, who were American economists. Now, I hope you have enough of content to know and be able to reproduce in your examination, just in case if you're getting a question that has to do with the education system playing the role of a secondary socialization agency. Now, this question, we'd be discussing this question and the answer when we'd be uh, studying this in class. Let's move on to another secondary socialization agency, that is the mass media. The mass media plays a very important role, which I don't think I need to explain, which I don't think is arguable, would be argued by any of you. And this reference that we have over here from Neil Postman is from 1985. That is good about 40 years ago. And in these 40 years, the way technology, the media in itself has evolved. And in the recent past, in the last 15 years or so, the way internet and globalization and internet and globalization and the internet has actually transformed everything to the point that I am teaching you all of this through the internet. So, some sociologists like Neil Postman claim that in Western societies, the media replaced the family in the 20th century. So, if in the Western society he claims family is being replaced as a socialization agency, not everything that a family teaches you, but a lot of things now. If I may give you a relatable and a relevant example, you'd see how in our country, like Pakistan, a South Asian country, which is an underdeveloped country, sad to state it, but yeah, we see how the internet has taken over. We see how young infants, toddlers, the amount of screen time they have, it's I mean, it's something that from a person from my generation, I hadn't even thought of it. I was in my early 20s when we had internet in Pakistan. And for the first almost 20 years of my life, I did not even know what internet was, to the point that today, young children have gadgets, and the accessibility they have to these gadgets has, without any doubt, influence their socialization process. Now, some sociologists like Postman in the 1985 claim that in Western societies, the media replaced the family in the 20th century as the main source of socialization, especially for children and young people. It is argued that the media, in all its varied forms, has a significant influence on the type of social values and norms acquired by both children and adults. The adult part, or almost adult part, I'm sure you all can relate to the way the last few years, the amount of uh, interest young individuals, people of your age, were showing in the Korean culture and the Korean K-pop, I think that's what you call it, is K-pop, K-drama, K-cuisines, if that's a word. All of this is possible through the media, and most of the people, like I say, the amount of enthusiasm, if not obsession, that they show towards the Korean way of life and culture. Most of them, they've never been to Korea and might not ever go to Korea. All of this has only been possible through the internet. And as we speak about, that's the almost adult part, since you're all in your adolescence and almost adults. And on the other hand, if we speak about children, the values that children, we see them acquiring, the values we see children acquiring from the education system, through the education system, I'm sure all of you, almost all of you, would be able to relate to this. If you have younger siblings at home, younger cousins, you'd see how quickly they keep on picking up things from YouTube, even if you have restricted their, what do you call it, Instagram, even if they're not using Instagram, the amount of accessibility they have to YouTube has taught them values that are very different from values from South Asian values. So the media are slightly unusual secondary agencies because our relationship over here is very impersonal. We're unlikely to meet those doing the socializing. The uh, if I give you another relatable example, social media influencers, the amount of craze I've seen very young children have towards the famous football person Ronaldo, CR7, I think that's what he's called. So the amount of craze kids show towards him, he's an inspiration for many. He is, or I mean, that's still worth it. I think he has earned it for himself. There are so many social media influences that people look forward to. And this socialization agency, we're referring to it as being very impersonal because you haven't met them, and the likelihood of you meeting them ever is super, super, super low. Yet you're following them, yet you're learning from them. If you're learning from them, they are a socialization agency. We're unlikely to meet those doing the socializing. While there is little evidence that the media have a direct long-term effect on behavior, there's stronger evidence for short-term effects. So the long-term effect, that's arguable, but the short-term effect, it's very evident. Advertising. This gentleman, Mr. Beast, and he's, if I'm not mistaken, the most popular YouTuber. I mean, he has his own chocolates, eatables, and the media does have a very, very strong short-term effect. If that wouldn't have been the case, why do you think different brands spend millions of dollars on their advertisement campaigns, on the media campaigns? Because I mean, they spend money because they get more of money in return. And when they're getting more of money in return, that means that their sales increase. And their sales are increasing because they advertise their product well. And media is the most popular platform through which you advertise. So advertising, for example, aims to make short-term changes in behavior by encouraging people to try different consumer products. So we've spoken about Neil Postman. Number two, let's talk about Potter. According to Potter suggests that short-term effects include and are not restricted to: number one, imitation. We see that, all of us see that. Young kids, they imitate so much, probably people of your age too. Number two, desensitization. Desensitization, the amount of exposure to things such as poverty, things such as violence, it eventually lowers down your emotional reaction towards it. If I talk about our country, it's a sad thing to mention, a sad reality, but the amount of exposure media has given uh, towards violence. I mean, the national media, and if I talk about what is going on in Palestine, unfortunately, has gotten many people desensitized towards it. What does the word desensitization mean? When you do not feel that sensitivity towards it, that emotional connection that leads to an emotional reaction reduces. So desensitization, the idea that constant and repeated experience of something such as violence or poverty gradually lowers emotional reaction. Number three, learning, in which we are introduced to new ideas and places. So according to Potter, Potter suggests that short-term effects of the media include one, imitation, no, number two, desensitization, number three, learning. Do you realize it's about you understanding the concept? Once you've understood the concept and you can write basic English, you can develop all of these points super well. Learning, there are so many new ideas, there are so many new things that you're exposed to through the media. Let's be optimistic over here and talk about the constructive and the productive gains that you have from the media that cannot and should not be ignored as well. Now, the media can have indirect long-term effects as well on how we view certain values and aspect of life, making them seem natural even though they're socially constructed. For instance, consumerism. The media and advertising often promote the constant pursuit of goods and services as a normal part of life, shaping our lifestyles and identities in capitalist societies. Every year, year after another, Apple keeps on launching a new phone, and people or the Apple users, they have this, uh, most of them, I believe, till you get to a particular age in life, you want that new phone. This is promotion of capitalist values. This is promoting the capitalist economic model, the pursuit of goods, the pursuit of material goods, the services. They're mentioned, they're talked about, they're normalized to the point that it becomes your lifestyle. It becomes a part of you. You start internalizing it, and this eventually ends up shaping your identity. One. Number two, fear. Exposure or exposure to violent or negative media can lead people to overestimate the risk of crime, terrorism, or disasters, created a heightened sense of fear. I mean, being in Karachi, living in Karachi, I'm sure most of you do get this point real well. I mean, yes, there's crime, but the amount of exposure or the sensationalism that is created by the media when it comes to street crime. I'm not saying there isn't any street crime, but the sensationalism towards all of this is, again, does have a long term effect. If you talk about people outside of Karachi, I mean, if they want to come to Karachi, they'd ask you if it is. I mean, I've come across many people who literally been asking if Karachi was safe enough. So, yeah, number three, agenda setting. So, we're talking about how the media can have an indirect and a long term effect, right? Agenda setting, the media can influence how issues are discussed. Now, for instance, if I may give you a quick example here, the way Pakistani media discusses the Kashmir conflict or discusses issues faced by Muslims in the Indian occupied Kashmir, I mean, you don't expect anyone or any of the media production house in Pakistan to be supporting India or what India is up to. So you want to understand this even better. You've seen how different television channels have their inclination and their soft corner towards some political parties and not others. I don't want to discuss political parties here, but yeah, that is there as well. So the media can influence. Someone has sent a message. Let me read. Media they could affect both, beta. They could affect both. Zona. Yeah. Now, the media can influence how issues are discussed. For example, in the UK, immigration is often framed in terms of numbers, with the focus is more on the negative aspects of how they're outsiders who are intruding into your country, who would eventually eventually be a liability to your country. That's the portrayal of that's a portrayal of immigrants when it comes to the British media, rather than exploring the broader positive aspects of society. Now, sociology is an amazing subject. I could go on and on and on, but there are certain time constraints we have, because of which I'd have to take it further. The media's ability to enforce values is not always clear, but it certainly plays a significant role in shaping your values. It influences how we think about concepts such as nationality and promotes certain values over others. According to Potter, media influence happens through habituation. What does the word habituation mean here? The more people are exposed to certain images and ideas, the more likely they are to incorporate these into their own values. Now, there are so many examples. There are things that have been told to you, taught to you directly, indirectly by the media, and you've heard them, seen them, read them enough to feel like they're your opinions and not the media's opinions. Hence the term social construction. The media plays a role in defining what behaviors are acceptable and what are not. Durkheim, in the year, the prominent functionist, but since we haven't studied functionalism, see, Durkheim is a functionist, Parsons is a functionist, and there are many more. So there are two that we've named and discussed here. They're two that we've just named here. And do not worry if you cannot learn them right now. We'll be discussing them later as we proceed with the syllabus. The media play a role in defining what behaviors are acceptable or not. A concept Durkheim called boundary marking. So the media sets boundaries for you. They help reinforce social norms by promoting certain behaviors and discouraging others. For example, the media might support the traditional family values through campaigns or push for changes like combating racism. So the media could do this, support traditional family values, or they could combat racism, bullying, hacking, other unethical practices. The media use various sanctions to be able to do that: positive sanctions, negative sanctions. So the media, positive sanctions such as certain acts could be praised with a very favorable coverage, leaving a very positive portrayal and an image. And on the other hand, negative sanctions, negative portrayals, critical analysis, public criticism, banning them, bashing them through the media, all of this is and could be used. The last one before we wrap this up, this is going to take another 5 minutes and then we'd be through, inshallah. Religion. Religion is seen as a very important agency of socialization too. But the extent to which religion, I recall there was a lesson where a child raised a question about why religion is not a primary source of socialization. If you talk about South Asian countries like Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh, religion, alhamdulillah, plays a very important role in terms of shaping our personality and our identity. But we need to realize that there are many parts of the world, many countries and societies where religion is not seen to be as important as we see it in our part of the world. Religion, as an agency of socialization, teaches you morality, helps you distinguish between what is right and what is wrong, provides you a sense of identity, provides you with a sense of belonging, provides you with a guideline as to how you're expected to live your life. About the role that religion plays in terms of a socialization process. For the longest of time, prior to when education got gained popularity, it was in the 1880s, if I'm not mistaken, when education got compulsory in the UK. Prior to the education era, it was religion that used to play a very important role prior to education, prior to media. And religion not only gives you a sense of identity, but religion or religious explanations, religious justifications were provided to people. Religious sanctions were explained to people. If I may put it in an even simpler manner, the concept of heaven and hell, the concept of life after death, all of this does help an individual shape their behavior. If you're a Muslim, you're expected to pray 5 times a day. That's a must do, no questions being asked. If you're Muslim, there are certain do's and don'ts that you need to learn, understand, adapt to, and adhere. So I don't think religion being or not being an important agency of socialization would be a concern here. In Western European societies, since we're talking about Western European societies, religion was once a major part of socialization, once as in, like I said, pre-education, pre-media era, with high church attendance and strong belief in God. However, by the 21st century, surveys show that many Europeans are becoming less religious today. And there's a term we refer to that as secularization. What does the word secularization over here mean? When religion experiences a decline within the society. When religion experiences a decline within the society, we use the word secularization for that. Some sociologists argue that the Western societies are experiencing a decline in religious influence, and we use the word secularization for that. Even if we don't consider ourselves religion still plays a big part in socialization in many countries. It often influences important ceremonies, like when you're born. If you're born into a Muslim family, you uh, uh, if you're born into a Muslim family, as soon as you're born, they give azan in your adhan or azan in your ear. That uh, I'm sure everyone knows what I'm talking about here. So when you're getting married, when someone dies, there are certain what is the word we use? There are certain rituals, there are certain rites that uh, there are certain rite of passages or certain rituals that individuals go through regardless of them being religious or not religious throughout their life. For most people, not all again, religious values also shape our moral beliefs. Morality, what does the word morality mean? You being able to distinguish between what is right and what is wrong. Religious values also shape our moral beliefs and about right and wrong. For instance, many legal systems reflect moral principles found in religious teachings, such as in Islam, you're not allowed to kill someone, nor are you, I mean, no religion advocates that. And you've seen how this has eventually translated into the legal system for many countries and many societies, or the laws or the uh, punishments as a consequence to theft. They have been eventually incorporated into the legal system for many countries, for many societies. Religious values are strong influences for believers, offering guidance on how to live according to their faith. However, religion can also be a source of conflict. There are some examples where religion has been seen to be a source of conflict. Yes, I know, I'm aware, and I'm a strong believer. Religions advocate harmony, brotherhood, integration. But if we there are some societies, there are some examples that we cannot ignore of either where religion has acted as a source of conflict. There have been certain historical conflicts that we cannot choose to ignore here. The conflict between Protestants and Catholics in Ireland, the conflicts between Muslims and Hindus, maybe. So, as much as religion advocates love, affection, humanity, and everything nice, religion, there have been certain instances where there have been conflicts between religions and within religions, to between religions, such as uh, Muslims versus Jews, such as Christians versus Hindus, such as Muslims versus Hindus, and conflicts within religion. Like I gave you an example of the conflicts between Protestants and Catholics in the Northern Ireland. sadly, the conflicts between Sunni Muslims and Shia Muslims that shouldn't be there. But yes, if we have a look at history, we see that religion has at times acted as as a source of conflict too. Now, having said that, religious values are often shown through specific styles of dress as well. Sikhism is an absolute and an amazing example to this, such as Muslim hijab or Sikh turban, which reflect both religious commitment and ethnic identity. Many major religions like Christianity and Islam have been critiqued for promoting patriarchy. Over here, you need to learn what the word patriarchy means. Patriarchy is male domination. So many major religions like Christianity and Islam have been critiqued for promoting patriarchy through male leadership and traditional gender roles. Despite this, they also offer concepts of love and care that can provide comfort and a sense of belonging, especially for women in a challenging world. According to Swetos, religion, religions today are evolving. They're evolving to be more loving, supportive, and inclusive. Swatos suggests that religions are evolving to be more welcoming to women. For example, depiction of God are shifting from authoritarian to loving and supportive. And clergy members are increasingly seen as caring professionals rather than strict enforcers of justice. So you could learn this reference as well. Religion, religion use positive sanctions. I gave you an example to reward followers, such as, for instance, Hinduism offers the concept of rebirth, reincarnation, which is also referred to as punarjanam in Hindi. Yeah, I don't know if it's a Hindi word or Sanskrit word. So the concept of rebirth, the concept of reincarnation. For instance, Hinduism offers the concept of rebirth as a reward for good deeds, while Christianity promotes heaven for living a righteous life. And so is the case for Islam. There are certain negative sanctions that are there as well, that are prevalent. In Catholicism, excommunication, being expelled from the church, is a serious punishment. In some form of Islam, breaking Sharia law can lead to various punishments. In theocratic societies, now what does the word theocratic mean? Religious theodicy has to do, the word theodicy has to do with religion or religious affairs. And a theocratic society is a religious society. In theocratic societies like Iran, where religious authorities hold power, non-believers can face severe penalties as well. I mean, that's what the author of the book had to say. So I hope you've all understood the concept here, the explanation that I tried providing in terms of how uh, three different socializing agencies. Let me reiterate, they aren't just three different socializing agencies. If you have had sociology as subject on in O levels, you probably were taught workplace as an agency of socialization too, which it is. But there are several others as well. For now, we're restricting ourselves to just three of them, and they are education, media, and religion as secondary sources or secondary agencies of or agencies of secondary socialization, a better way to put it. So I hope this lesson has been helpful, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So we'll be discussing questions on this, inshallah, in the next class. And since there's no question asked, no one, so not at all. Yeah. Till then, take good care of yourselves. Stay happy, healthy, safe, and protected. Stay humble. Spread positivity, spread smiles, and Allah Hafiz.